In this video, we're going to learn about the change in consumer surplus. Since we're talking about consumers, we're going to start with a demand curve. So we're going to draw our normal market diagram with the quantity and price axes labeled, draw a downward sloping demand curve and label that. And we're going to pick a price. Let's go with a price of $10 and draw a dotted line over to the demand curve and get the quantity that goes with that price. Let's go with a quantity of 20. And we're going to call that price P1. That's our starting price. And the quantity to go with that is Q1. That's our starting quantity. So that's our starting point. Then we need an ending point. So the way to think about this is the subscripts are time stamps. So now we need another price and another quantity to go with it. So let's make the second price $5. That's going to be P2. And let's make the second quantity $25. So the price has gone down and the quantity has gone up. That's what the law of demand tells us will happen. And what I want to do is I want to shade in the consumer surplus before our price changed. So when the price was P1, this triangle right here is the consumer surplus. Let's call that consumer surplus number 1. And that is the consumer surplus before anything changed. Again, the 1 and the 2, these are timestamps. So P1 is before and P2 is after. Now let's take a look at the consumer surplus after. And what you're going to notice is this blue triangle is bigger than the green triangle. So when the price went down, we ended up with a bigger triangle. And that blue triangle is consumer surplus number 2. And that's the consumer surplus after the price change. And here's what I want to point out to you. I want to point out to you the difference between those two consumer surpluses. So we're going to calculate the change in consumer surplus, and it's just the consumer surplus after minus the consumer surplus before, the second one minus the first one. So it'll be the big triangle minus the small triangle. So that's going to be our change in consumer surplus. And we're using a Greek delta. That triangle there is a Greek uppercase delta. And we use the Greek uppercase delta anytime that we want to denote a change. So a Greek uppercase delta means change. So let's go back up to the diagram and let's highlight in yellow the difference between the two consumer surpluses, the difference between before and after. And what we get is this space where the two triangles don't overlap. And I've colored that in yellow. And I don't know how well you can see that, but that shape is a trapezoid. So we can use the equation for the area of a trapezoid in order to calculate the change in the consumer surplus. And the equation for the area of a trapezoid is just 1/2 of the height multiplied by the length of the top plus the length of the bottom. So the height times 1/2 of the top plus the bottom. I apologize for the bad handwriting. My handwriting's not that great to begin with, and this pen capture handwriting technology doesn't help it. Now in the next video, I'm going to use some more examples of this and draw it a little bit cleaner so that you can see what we're doing and how we get the numbers in order to find the change in consumer surplus. So make sure you catch that next video. It's going to be very important.